WordPress itself has a lot of key features, however there's still a lot of room for improvement, and that's where the topic of today's video comes in. We're going to take a look at 3 different plugins that I would consider to be sort of WordPress tweakers kind of tools. They allow you to not only customize what you can do inside WordPress itself, primarily the dashboard but some front-end features, but also, depending upon which one you look at, can allow you to replace multiple other WordPress plugins. Let's take a look at the 3 tools we're going to take a look at in this video, and then we're going to kind of do a bit of a comparison and round things up towards the end. So first on our list is WP Extended. I am going to be using the Pro version of this to give me access to everything. However, it's not that important. I want to show you what the kind of functions do, and then you can make an easy comparison between the various different free and premium versions. We're also going to take a look at the very popular admin Site Enhancements. Again, I'm going to use the Pro version because I have licenses for this. But again, there's a lot of features inside here in the free version that allow you to tweak to your heart's content. Just maybe some of those more advanced features are not included in the free version. And finally, we're going to take a look at one that is relatively new to me, which is the WP Master Toolkit. I am only using the free version here, but again, anything that's a pro feature will be marked as a pro feature, and you can check that out on their website to find out if this is a tool or function that you need, and then, purchase accordingly. So speaking of pricing, let's take a quick look at that first of all before we jump in and take a look at the features that they offer. So the WP Master Toolkit, if we jump into the pricing section, you've got a monthly and an annual option. Let's focus on the annual ones because I don't imagine most people are going to pay monthly for something like this. But you can see we've got 4 different tiers: starter, business, freelance, and agency. So starting from 1 site through 3, 25, and 500 sites. Starting at $30 per year, moving its way up to $246. Now obviously this is at the time of recording. This may change if you're watching it in the future or any special offers are running. But I would say probably for most users, this kind of freelance option is going to be the kind of sweet spot with 25 different site licenses, and it's going to cost you about $100 per year. If we compare that to ASE Pro, you can see we've got a lot more options, maybe a little too many options, some may say. But what you have is your 1, 3, 10 sites, 25 up to 100, and then from 200 to 1,000 sites. So we kind of look at that sweet spot, the 25, you can see this is going to cost us $69. So basically a $30 saving for the same amount of licenses. If you want to jump up, you can go to 1,000. But again, if we keep at the 100 sites, that's 129 in comparison to 99. If we jump over to WP Extended, you can see they've got a simple option. You've got 1, 50 or unlimited licenses starting at 15. So again, you can see your 50 domains is $79. So again, double the domains for $10 more than we've seen with ASE, and a couple of dollars cheaper than we've seen with Toolkit. However, you also notice you've got this unlimited for 125. And we also have a lifetime option if that kind of fits your needs, if you like to kind of purchase now and, not worry. So we've got a lifetime option inside WP Extended. We've also got a lifetime option for ASE Pro, which you can see is listed here. But WP Master Toolkit doesn't actually give you that option. So you are going to have an annual license there. So now that we've seen the pricing, let's jump over and take a look at the different features that they have, the interfaces, and some of the options you've got. So let's start off first of all with WP Extended. Like I say, I have the Pro version installed, but the other ones, if there's not Pro, it'll at least tell you which is the Pro feature. So if we take a quick look, you've got things broken down on the left-hand side to utilities, security, posts, pages, and so on. You can switch between different sort of module views if you want to, and you can display all the active modules you have by using this. Now, one of the first things I will say, and maybe this isn't important, and once you've set it, you forget it, but for me, WP Extended Pro has by far the most professional, clean, and intuitive interface out of all 3 options here. That may not be important to you, but for me, I like to see something that looks clean, polished, and pro. So kudos to the guys there for setting things up in a much more, in my opinion, professional manner. However, it is still the functionality that's the key important thing. So what do we have? In things like utilities, we've got admin columns, the customizer, duplicate menu, code snippets, and so on. So just taking a look at these utilities, we can already see we could potentially replace multiple other plugins. Admin columns, for example, you can replace admin columns, the free version. Is it going to compete with the Pro or Premium version of Admin Columns Pro? No. But for a lot of users, they don't need maybe that additional functionality. And that's the kind of key thing to remember here with all these tools. They're not generally going to replace a fully featured tool like Advanced Custom Fields Pro, Admin Columns Pro, and so on. But for the users that don't require that level of granularity or control, this may be more than enough. You also got things like SMTP email, so you can enable this, set your different options inside there. Again, that removes additional plugin, an SMTP plugin. Admin customizer, duplicate menu, code snippets. Again, you can remove a code snippets plugin. Again, is it going to rival those sort of dedicated code snippet plugins? Generally, no, but not everybody's going to have a need for all those intermediate and advanced features. Rollback manager, pretty cool to have that. Disk usage utility and so on. So let's take a quick look if we jump into the admin columns. Let's configure this, and you can see this is a really nice pro clean looking interface. This is our media. We can switch things over to our posts, for example. And inside here, you can see we've got the different options. We can add new columns. You can give this a name. You can select what the column is actually related to. So categories, for example. Hit apply, job done, position this where you want in the sort of stacking order, enable or disable it, delete it. You kind of get the idea how it works. It is not as comprehensive as some of the dedicated plugins, but like I say, if you just want to tweak the admin interface, this may be more than enough. If we then take a look at the security options, you've got things like blocking usernames, custom login URLs, and so on. So if you use a dedicated sort of security plugin, like Solid Security or something like that, these are options that are included in there, which generally you will disable those features because they're security vulnerabilities. You've got those options inside here. So again, this may allow you to remove the need for a dedicated security plugin as long as you've got good security on your server and everything else set up. You need to do a feature kind of comparison to see what works for you. Drop it into maintenance mode from here. All those options are available. Come into login attempts, so you can choose how many login attempts. So 3, and then they'll be locked out for X number of minutes. You get the idea. Posts and pages, so you can duplicate posts and pages, export external permalinks, which something I found not that long ago is an incredibly useful feature. An external permalink basically means you can link off to external pages by using various different features integrated into WordPress itself. You'll know if you need it. Post type switcher. Post type order, quick add posts for the home page. Then you've got user management, so you can clean their profiles, export the users, hide the author slugs, which is generally recommended. Menu visibility, user switching, again, super useful little feature when you're testing things out. You can switch to any other user, so you can see what it looks like from their user point of view, and then you can switch back without having to log out and log in and do all those kind of like boring things. Images and media, so you can disable video uploads. Again, if you're handing this off to a client, that could be super useful, so you don't have them uploading stuff that they shouldn't. But then you've got media trash as opposed to going, deleting it permanently. You can have this drop into the trash, giving you 30 days grace. Again, super useful little options. All these things should realistically be baked into WordPress, but they're not, and we need tools like this. Media replace is again really useful. If you change an image and you've got it in multiple parts of your site, this will allow you to change that image and not have all those missing links. It will update and that new image will be used throughout your site. Again, super useful little things. Then you've got disable and organize, so you can disable the RSS feeds, disable the blog if you don't have any need for it, comments, all things that are useful. And obviously if you want to take a look at all of them, they're all listed here. So you can see how this works and see the options we've got available inside WP Extended Pro. This is already a lot of features, but like I say, it is probably the least feature rich out of the 3 that we're going to take a look at, but that's not to put it down. This probably has 95% of what most users will ever need. Now, if we jump over into admin and site enhancements, again, like I say, this is the pro version, so there's going to be some additional features you may not see in the free version, but you can see it has a lot of the same kind of options down the left-hand side, and it looks okay. In my opinion, it's probably the middle ground out of the 3, and it's okay. I just think, like I say, WP Extended just looks a little bit more pro and polished. But again, it does the same kind of things. However, we do have some much more advanced options here, some of which I've covered in recent videos. But you've got your custom content types. If you are using tools like pods, advanced custom fields, and so on, this could replace it in certain instances. Some of the things that you have inside those tools are not available inside here. For example, you don't have conditional logic on the fields you use, but you do have the ability to create custom post types, custom meta fields, custom taxonomies, options pages. It works with the likes of bricks. Nice and smooth there inside bricks. You've got relationships. You kind of have a lot of the features that you need. You need to check them out in comparison, but there's a lot of good features here. But yeah, you can see we've got lots of the same kinds of things. So content duplication, content order, media replacement, SVG uploads, and so on. Lots of the same kind of thing. And you'll find that with all these tools, there's an overlap between all of them. Each one will have certain things that may be unique, or its implementation is a little bit more smooth or polished, or, you kind of get the idea there. Admin interface are the same kind of thing. So clean up your admin bar, hide admin notices, disable dashboard widgets, admin logos and so on. Then you've got other enhancements. So if you enable these features, you'll see we can expand this out and see all the key features that are stacked underneath that particular sort of section. So media library, infinite scroll, display active plugins first, preserve taxonomy, hierarchy, and so on. Nice little tweaks that make the WordPress dashboard nicer to work with. Simple as that. Login, out, and register. So you can change the login URL, which is good from security purposes. Login ID type, so you can restrict the login ID to usernames or email addresses only, as opposed to both of them being available. Redirect after login, so you can control where they go to after they log in. And again, this is pretty useful because you can set different directs up for different users or different user roles. Redirect after logout. Custom code, so again, you can replace those custom code snippets. And if we enable the options, you can see it'll give us a little bit more information. Hit save changes, and then you'll have new options available as part of the whole setup in various different places. Then you've got disable components. So these are kind of more geared towards those sort of not main security things, but things you may want to disable. So for example, if you're using a builder and you don't want Gutenberg to be enabled, you want to have sort of like the old-fashioned block editor, you can do that by selecting this option. Then you can choose how you want to handle it and where you want to make it available or not. Disabling comments, disable the REST API feeds, disable all updates and so on. So if you don't want your clients to know there's an update, you can do that here, and then you can manage this off-site on something like main WP or one of those kind of WP remote tools and things like that. Security, again, you can limit login attempts like we saw in WP Extended. You can apply captcha. I do like the obfuscate author slugs. This is super useful. If you do have multiple authors on your website, this will allow you to kind of remove their name from it, as it were, which means that it makes it much more difficult for people to find out the username based upon a link and then try to sort of hack your website. Same thing goes with an email obfuscator, so people won't see the email in the code and so on, and then you can do things like disable the XML RPC. These are things that are generally included in security plugins, but if you don't use one or you want to have it inside here, you can do it here as well. Then you've got optimization, so you can handle image upload control, revision control, so you can limit the number of revisions, therefore making your database just a little bit smaller, a bit more sort of performant and so on. And then we've got some utilities which are various different things. So email deliverability, so you can set up SMTP inside here. There's a form builder, which I covered in a recent video. Links to all these things in the description down below. So if you want a relatively simple form builder that does have some nice features that you don't see in that many sort of commercial form builders, I would say check it out. It's quite useful. Have a little look at that video. It's nice. Local user avatars, so if you want to have avatars inside you and you don't want to have to rely upon things like Gravatar and so on, you can do that here. And things like handling image sizes and user role things and things like that. So there's a lot of options inside here. Like I say, some of these are pro, but again, you see how this all kind of works. There's an overlap between the different plugins and some unique features and unique implementations. And the third one we're going to take a look at is the WP Master Toolkit. Like I say, I am using the free version here, but you can see anything that's a pro feature or is a pro coming soon will be listed and marked as a pro feature, so we'll have access to that. But you can see this has over 100 modules available. I do like the activated modules. That's always nice to be able to quickly see what you've got active inside your particular customized setup. But if we go in and take a look at the administration, so you can see same kind of things, hide admin notices, hide admin bar, last login, redirect after logout and login. You kind of see how this works. You can password protect your entire site, put into maintenance mode, clean up the admin bar. You get the idea. content and media. So again, a lot of the same options to allow for SVG uploads, opening all external links in new tabs, not recommended from an accessibility point of view, but it's there should you want it. Handling revision control, nav and menu visibility, and so on. So you can use this to customize so many aspects. The same thing goes for custom code. This works in a slightly different way. You've got different kinds of code snippet options as opposed to just like a code snippets on or off in the other tools. Custom front-end CSS. You can manage your ads text and your robots text and so on inside here. Disable features. So you can see you can disable Gutenberg and so on, like we've already seen. So there's a lot of options that allow you to handle that. Security, there's a bunch of options inside here. And again, similar kind of options like disallowing or disabling XML RPC, disallowing registered users, so hiding WordPress versions. Again, these are all little things that people can use to attempt to try to access your site, in a naughty way. Two-factor authentication, which is a pro feature. Disallow plugin upload and so on. So these are useful things if you are handing this off to a client and you want to kind of restrict what they can and can't do. That's quite cool. If we enable one of these options, we hit save. We'll now have new options. Depending upon what option or options they are, they'll be listed down the left-hand side underneath the WP Master Toolkit section. It's nice to see some WooCommerce options inside here. Not many. One's a pro, one's a free, but there's some things there. And you've got other features that don't kind of fall into any of those categories. Some quite useful things like a child theme generator. You have your SMTP mailer inside here. And some of the things you have in here, which I would say are very heavily developer focused, are things like your file manager and an adminer or adminer, which allow you to have a file manager inside the dashboard of your copy of WordPress, or adminer, which allows you to have a sort of PHP MyAdmin kind of access to the database. Again, things that are not recommended on a live site, but on a production site or you're testing things out, they can be quite useful. So again, if we enable things like this and save, you'll now have adminer listed down there, or adminer, whichever they say it. One thing I do like about this, though, is you can specify how long you'll have access to it. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 30 minutes, and so on. So it'll lock it after that period of time and remove the access to it. So that is good to see. There's a sort of security access being sort of added in here. That's pretty nice to see. And then if we take a look down on the left-hand side where you've got various different options or sort of things to configure, you can see we can open up like the media encoder, customize the features that are available. Your media cleaner, for example, you can choose what options are available. Things like enhanced list tables. For some reason, this does not pull in any styling. I'm assuming it's meant to kind of look more like this, but you'll see it just kind of dumps all the styling for some reason. And I've tried this on 2 different copies and it does the same thing. So I don't know what's going on there. But as you can see, there's a bunch of options inside here that allow you to customize the actual, your pages, your comments, your media, and so on. It allows you to kind of customize those different options. So if you remove the title, the author categories, and so on. So if it's just you don't need an author, you don't want the ID column, for example. Add a featured image, you get the idea, hit save. And if that's actually saved it, cool. So we come into posts now. You can see now we have the featured image. It removes the author and so on. So you can kind of customize this in a similar fashion to what we've seen. Again, it doesn't have that kind of polish that we've seen in the likes of WP Extended. However, whichever one of these you kind of choose, I think most of the main bases are covered. If you're more developer orientated, maybe WP Master Toolkit would be a better option because it does have some of those more advanced things like the file manager and the adminer for handling your database. However, if you're more comfortable using cPanel or whatever you're kind of using to manage the actual hosting, all those kinds of things are generally done on there, and you'll have an additional level of security knowing that none of that is active at any point inside the dashboard of WordPress. But you're working the best way for you. So what are my thoughts after testing these 3 different plugins out? Well, first of all, pricing. There's quite a wide array of different pricing options. Some offer lifetime deals, some don't. That could be valuable to you when you're kind of planning your sort of forecast for how much money you want to spend on different things and you don't want the recurring kind of costs. That might be an option. When it comes to the actual design and the way everything is set up and presented, I do think the WP Extended wins this out hands down. It is the most polished of the 3. However, that doesn't take away from the functionality that all 3 offer. Then the kind of toss-up between the two main ones, which is WP Master Toolkit and ASE Pro, because they do have the most features. If you want to have the ability to work with custom post types and custom meta fields and so on, and or you want custom form options, then ASE Pro is definitely the way to go about it. However, if you want a more sort of developer-focused set of options with the adminer and the sort of file manager, then WP Master Toolkit is the one to check out. However, going back to WP Extended, one thing I do know is that they're currently in the process of refactoring the whole code base for it, which is one of the reasons why we're not seeing as many new features rolling out to that. But once they've done that, and they've refactored it, it means that they can add new features easier and quicker. So I'm hopeful in the next 12 to 24 months, we will see a lot of new features being added, or the features that are already there being extended to give more functionality. So keep an eye on that one if it doesn't offer what you're looking for right now. But I don't think you can go wrong with any of these three different options. It just comes down to picking the one that suits you based upon price and functions. But those are just my thoughts and opinions on these three different tools. What are your thoughts? Let me have a comment in the comment section down below. Do you use any of these three? If you do, let me know which one and what you like and don't like about it, and whether this kind of overview would push you to take a look at some of the other ones and maybe test them out in comparison. Let me know in the comment section. As always, all applicable links are in the description down below. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts. Until next time, take care.